Hi, this is Janey Imaani and welcome to Emotional Awareness. So the narrative that life is about happiness or the pursuit of happiness has increasingly become more popular. But at the same time, so has depression and anxiety become more widespread as well. So in 2006, Gallop started surveying, I think it was 146 countries and 154,000 people on their feelings of worry, stress, anxiety, happiness. And so what they found is that our happiness levels are decreasing as time passes. And so that's really quite ironic, and we really have to ask ourselves, how is it that we are becoming less happy while pursuing happiness more than we ever have been? So what we're going to do in today's episode is look at what we call the happiness lie and why that necessarily doesn't make much sense. Okay, so what is happiness? Happiness is obviously an emotion, and it's one of many emotions like fear, rejection, anger, excitement, happiness, or contentment. And a human being was created to feel this whole range of emotion. But when we say we want to be happy in life, what we're saying is that we want to make this one emotion our life's goal, or we want to make this one feeling our life's pursuit. And that's humanly impossible, and it's just not part of the human experience. And so when we come across life's tragedies and heartbreaks and defeat, which we're guaranteed to come across, and quite frankly more than we'd like to, we walk away sort of believing or feeling that we're not good enough, or that we failed, or we're less than. So making happiness our ultimate goal is a losing strategy, because a human being cannot stay at one emotion. And to make it even more complicated, what we know is that from Brene Brown's research, joy is one of the most difficult emotions to feel because it requires so much vulnerability. So we're actually a little bit afraid of feeling joyous or too happy, because we believe that if we allow ourselves to feel those feelings, then something's going to go wrong. So I'll give you an example. Say if you get promoted at work, even before you celebrate, it won't take you too long to start worrying about whether you're actually up for the task or not, if you're actually going to be able to make it or do well. Or another example would be, say if you have a child and she or he gets into a good school or finds a good spouse, one of the first thoughts that come to our mind is, how long will this actually last? So it takes a lot of courage or even emotional maturity to allow those feelings of happiness to seep in. And so we're in this happiness conundrum where so many of us believe that life is about the pursuit of happiness, while at the same time actually being afraid of feeling happy. And really what it is that the bottom of it is that we're just afraid of any uncomfortable emotion that makes us feel uncertain or vulnerable. So we live in a culture that's become, more shallow. It's a culture of fun, fast and easy. And it's sort of unaccepting of life's complexities and how hard, life can actually be. Like the original word for happiness came from the Greek word eudaimonia, which means good soul, or the pursuit of making your soul good. But in today's world, it's simply defined as feeling good, or a good feeling, or glad or smiley or something like that. And so that's kind of an example of how the lack of depth in our culture is changing our values over time as well. Okay, so the next question is, if life isn't about pursuing happiness, then what shall I pursue? Meaning. Because meaning is a much wiser, higher value to live your life by. And it's also a value that will help you survive the complexities of and difficulties of life. You won't sort of be knocked out at the first blow, like if happiness was your value. And so meaning is a much more complicated value to try and figure out, especially for our generation, because the older generation, they were told what their meaning of life was. They were either mom, dad, breadwinner, this is your religion, this is your culture. But for us, we have so many more options. And so it's much more complex to try and sort out. But I'm going to make more videos about meaning of life and how to figure it out. But for today's episode, I hope we understand that chasing a fleeting emotion like happiness is a poor strategy to live your life by, and it's not going to help you tolerate or survive the natural complexities of life. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!